And so I knew that I wanted to up level and provide for my daughter. I just didn't know how that was going to look. I remember holding her, giving birth to her and holding her in my arms and saying, it's just me and you. I looked down at her and she was looking at me and I said, it's just me and you. And I said, I won't disappoint. And from there, something just lifted out of me and I just took off.
Hi there, Soulful Mama. Welcome to the Soul Care Mom podcast. I'm Catherine Wilde of soulcaremom.com. I'm a mom of 3 amazing kids, a soul care mom coach, and a yoga and meditation teacher. I've helped hundreds of women, and I'm here to help you feel calm and find your unshakable confidence as a mom. If you're ready to stop living in survival mode, and you're ready to drop the mom guilt and overwhelm, this podcast is for you. Think of this as a lunch date with a girlfriend. Grab a cup of tea and get cozy. It's time to get honest and vulnerable and shift the traditional mindset around motherhood. Be sure to subscribe to be the first to know when new episodes are released. Get ready to grow and feel empowered as a mom. I'm here for you, Mama. Let's get started. If you struggle with the mental load of motherhood, this episode of the Soul Care Mom podcast is for you. During this beautiful conversation, I chat with Toye Penny, wife, mother, luxury well-being strategist, author and creator of the You MoreMethod, and we dive into all things self-care and how to protect your mind and truly protect your mental and emotional peace. You are not going to want to miss this episode. Get cozy and settle in for this empowering conversation. Hi, Toye. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, I love your energy. And when we connected, I loved that we were both passionate about helping women infuse their lives with self-care. And I knew it would be so empowering, our conversation. So I love that you help women put their oxygen masks on. And I'm excited to dive into protecting our minds, protecting our mental and emotional peace. But first, I would love to hear a little bit about your journey and how you came to help women with self-care. Something we're all looking for more of, right? Trying to find time for ourselves, protecting our emotional and mental energy. Yeah.
Right. So, once again, thank you so much for having me. And I actually help women move beyond self-care. This is a whole beyond self-care transformation that we have going on. But hello, everyone. My name is Toye Penny from toyepenny.com. And I am a luxury well-being strategist for celebrity and high-performing CEO moms. And I help them put their oxygen mask on first so they can save everyone else around them. And how I do this is I created a method called the Love You More method. And I exclusively guide them through this method. Now, this method is a luxury self-development well-being program, and it's specifically designed for either the celebrity or the 6 to 8 figure woman who is leading in her industry while also raising children at home. And it's so that she can reduce mental load, drop the functioning addiction cycle, prevent the risk of a health breakdown, and model well-being for generations to come. So I'm after the generations, and I go through this woman to get to the next generation. Okay. So very briefly, my story is, it's just really all tied into the brand, but I had a lot of childhood trauma growing up. And one of the things was my mother passed away of lupus when I was about 9 years old. I didn't know my father until I was about 18 years old. I didn't meet my father until I was about 18. So basically, I was an orphan. Now I was raised by relatives, several different relatives until I end up with my grandmother at the age of 13. But by 13, I end up being sexually abused by a boss of mine that I worked my first job. And then by 16, I became a teenage mom, having her week into my 17th birthday. And so I knew that I wanted to up level and provide for my daughter. I just didn't know how that was going to look. And as a matter of fact, I remember giving birth to my daughter, this young teenager, 1 week into her 17th birthday. I remember holding her, giving birth to her and holding her in my arms and saying, "It's just me and you." I looked down at her and she was looking at me and I said, "It's just me and you." And I said, "I won't disappoint." And from there, something just lifted out of me and I just took off. And so I was really, really deeply encouraged and motivated to finish school and to do what I had to do. And I wanted to, work the job. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was going to do, but all I knew is I had to provide and set the example for this daughter. So long story short, I ended up graduating high school at 18. She was about 1 year old then. I walked across stage and it was so exciting to see her in the audience with my grandmother. And so I went off to massage therapy school. I wanted to be a makeup artist, but the family said I wanted to fly off to LA and be a makeup artist, but the family said you had to stay here because you had a baby and all of this stuff. And so I stayed here. I went off to massage therapy school. I got hired immediately at this high-end luxury day spa. So this sort of introduced me to the whole luxury world. So I'm 19. I'm working at this company, this high-end luxury day spa. I move out of my grandmother's house at 19, got my first apartment, first brand new ride. And I'm working there for about 2.5 years when the owner came to me and asked me if I wanted to buy the place. Wow. So I'm like, wait, what? You want me to do what? So I thought inside, like I knew that this was my ticket out. And I was like, yes. So what I did was I bartered services with a couple of clients who were attorneys. They represented me in the sale. The next thing you know, I was 23 years old, CEO and owner of a high-end luxury day spa. This is an 8-figure company. I had 15 employees and I was a single mom. I had no idea what I was doing. But I made it work. So I'm running this company successfully. Like y'all, we want it for nothing. I'm financially flexible. My daughter and I want for nothing. We travel the world. I'm, built my first home from the ground up at the age of 24. I mean, we just didn't want for nothing. We was living the life. But here's where I noticed where the downfall happened. So I began to develop this facade of I have it all together in my career. Simultaneously, things on the back end were falling apart. And when I say things on the back end were falling apart, I mean, I had little to no relationship with my daughter. Why? Because I had no time for her. We ate out basically every single day. My mental load was all over the place. My well-being was falling apart. As you know, I had some unresolved childhood trauma. And my complete identity was wrapped up and hid behind this brand and this company to where nothing else mattered but making more money. That's all that mattered to me, making more money and generating more sales. And so I went back to that moment where I delivered my daughter at 17 years old. And I said, I will not disappoint. And from there, I was like, oh my gosh, like I am disappointing. Not only am I disappointing, I'm modeling this same behavior before my daughter. And I knew that at that moment that something had to change. And so I started looking for schools. I don't know how I ended up at the school, but it was a lifestyle / nutrition school. I enrolled there. I was there for about 2.5 years. And I learned that your lifestyle, your food, all of that was directly connected. So that's one of the things that really stood out to me. And so I went back to my life and I realized that all of the childhood trauma that I had never dealt with. They were unresolved. And what happened was it was started to show up and manifest in my actions as a CEO, as a mom, and as an individual. And it was preventing me from getting to the next level of leadership. But not only that, I was modeling the same behavior before my daughter. So I knew, oh my gosh, that was my light bulb moment. I started doing the research and I realized that if I was going through this problem, that a lot other women and mothers were going through this problem. CEO moms, quote unquote, were going through this problem as well. So long story short, I ended up doing my own self-development work, and I started to really trying to heal all of the voids and the trauma that I had and I faced in my childhood. And I ended up attracting this young man from the U.S. Virgin Islands of St. Thomas. He took me there for my birthday. We was dating. He took me to St. Thomas, and on the plane ride back, God whispered in my ear and said, "Sell your business." And so I'm like, sell my business? Like by this time, I'm 7 years in, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell my business. So I stepped out on faith. I had a broker. The broker found this lovely husband and wife couple. The next thing you know, I'm signing on the dotted line, cash is in my bank account, and I'm out the door. So I immediately get married to this young man from the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas. I start toyepenny.com. We get pregnant with one baby girl and then another baby girl. So at that moment, I'm running toyepenny.com. I'm a newlywed. I'm pregnant with one baby girl. I'm breastfeeding the next. My oldest daughter was 13 at that time. So I remember my oldest daughter starting to act out like a teenager. Clients, I'm dealing with them and all their stuff. I'm trying to be there for the husband, trying to grow one in my womb, trying to breastfeed another. And I remember breaking down and that trauma starting to show up again and just everything started to break down. And then I went to my knees, went to my room, and I said, how do I maintain myself yet maintain everyone else around me? The word that came to me was clear as day. When you are whole and complete within yourself, everything else falls into place. So this light bulb moment again came together and I started creating this method called the Love You More method. And so I knew that, like I said, I did this research and I put over 1,000 hours of research. And I knew that if I was going through it, that somebody else was going through it as well. So I started putting together this luxury self-development well-being program made for these celebrities and these high-end women who are also mothers so that they can model well-being for generations to come. So I know that was a lot, but girl, that was my story.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. There was a lot of that I didn't know already. So thank you. Thank you for your honesty. And thank you. Something that came up for me as you were speaking was, that striving to be successful, to have more, to make more. It's all such a beautiful thing, but it doesn't bring us our happiness, right? So often, whether it's in business or in motherhood, when we're striving to, be seen in a certain way, have our kids act a certain way, whatever it is we're trying to prove to the outside world, that's it, when we get there, even if we get there, it's not where our happiness lies, right? Exactly. So it's so important to remember and that, such an incredible and inspiring journey. Thank you for sharing it so authentically. Do you feel overwhelmed and anxious? Do you wish you could stop losing your temper with your kids and just have more fun as a mom? Do you crave finding more time to do the things you love without feeling guilty? I get it, Mama. I've been there. That's why I created the Vibrant Mom Life membership. Imagine what life would look like if you could finally get out of survival mode, consistently find time for yourself, and be the calm, present mom you've always wanted to be. This membership will help you step out of anxiety and overwhelm and help you find time for yourself without the guilt. Inside Vibrant Mom Life, you'll find monthly themes that will help you shift your mindset, get out of survival mode, and find time for the things you love, all while being the mom you want to be. Plus, you'll find guided meditations and yoga practices that will help you effortlessly infuse your days with self-care. And I know that some days are harder than others, so you'll even find a library of short and sweet guided affirmations so you can simply press play and reconnect with your inner calm in just minutes. Join Vibrant Mom Life today by going to soulcaremom.com/membership so you can stop running on empty and truly enjoy mom life. I can't wait to welcome you inside, Mama. And yeah, so as women, as mothers, there's so much information being thrown at us, right? So many things we feel we need to be, that we should be, right? Whether it's social media, our friends, even our own, family. The mental load of motherhood can be so overwhelming, so overstimulating. And we have a lot to process, right? And it can affect our mental health. So what tips do you have to help us to protect your mind, to really protect and restore our mental and emotional peace on this journey?
Right. So I always say the first one is, I think during this time more than ever, as you see, we have mental health like it's on the rise. We have suicides on the rise. We have addiction on the rise. We have, cancers. All of this stuff is just on the rise. Literally, we are in a crisis right now. Literally, it's been this way, but it is really starting to show itself right now. And so I think more than ever, we really need to protect, and I always say garden our inner, because if we look at ourselves as gardeners, and our inner, so we say garden our inner. And when I say inner, I mean your inner being, your mind, your soul, your will, all of these things we need to protect. And so when I say garden, I mean things like we need to protect what goes in our minds, what we see, what goes in our mouth, what goes in our ears. Those things we need to protect. A lot of us are not protecting these things. So when we are watching these shows, or when we're listening to something, or when we're in that environment, guess what? We are taking that in. We are absorbing that. Our minds are absorbing that. And therefore, we're putting that out. So what goes in must come out. So just say you're on your way to work and you're listening to a podcast interview, and the woman is spewing hate, about maybe some political thing or something. She's spewing hate. And this is something that you do on a daily basis. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to spew hate. You're going to go to Starbucks, and maybe the Starbucks lady had an attitude, and now you're spewing hate, or now you're upset because she didn't get your coffee out in 2 seconds. And she, like she said she would. Or maybe little Timmy spilled his chocolate milk, and now you're cursing out little Timmy, or you're yelling or something because of something that went inside of you. And so we must garden our inners. And at times when we're not guarding our inners, maybe you fell off one day. It's okay, because we're all human and we do fall off. Some of the things that we may watch or listen to, we have a choice. We have a choice to either download it or pull it out. So we have to choose. And if you download it, then that's what is downloaded in your soul. And that's what's going to, and not only in your soul, in your mind, in your will, and your emotions, basically. It's all connected. So if you're downloading that, like I said, what goes in is going to come out. Not only that, I'm going to take it a bit further. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. This is what you're modeling before the kids. You think they don't know, but they know. You think they don't know how you're speaking to the phone with the cell phone representative, but they are paying attention. You think they don't know how you're speaking to your husband, but they are paying attention. You think they don't know how you're talking to your clients, but they're paying attention. And this is what they're picking up. And this is what they are now doing in their life as well. So it's really sneaky. It's really sneaky. And I always say, when you answer the call, because every assignment, every job, everything that you have, whether it's your career, whether it's a husband, whether it's your kids, whatever, it's an assignment. It's an assignment. We don't look at it as the assignment. A lot of us say, that little saying, I understood the assignment. Like, so if you understand the assignment is like, you are assigned to this child. You are assigned to this husband. You are assigned to yourself. You are assigned to this calling. You are assigned. And so when we look at it as an assignment, we will then monitor and garden our inners more than ever. So I know that was a long answer.
No, but I love so much of that. I'm loving this so much. So yeah, I mean, when we watch things, what we put in, you're so right. We don't always necessarily, we're not aware of it, right? That like, oh, that's just a story. I knew that was just a story, but you're still programming yourself. You're still taking all of it in. And yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love that so much. For me, like, motherhood, the messages I got growing up, the shows I watched, it was more of the child needs to be seen and not heard. And it was this kind of struggle and battle between the parents and the children. And I had to undo that, and reprogram myself, like realize that I don't have to live that way. That's not how I have to communicate with them, that, we can have a more connected and loving experience. And so, yeah, so know whatever, situation you might be going through, that you can change it, you can show up differently. And what you're putting in is such a big part of that. And the people you surround yourself with, the podcasts, the shows, all the things. Who are you following on social media, right? Make sure your feed is really uplifting.
Yeah. So it's real sneaky. It's real sneaky, and it sneaks up. And so, like I said, we must guard that. It's an everyday task. Every day. You must garden. You must garden every day.
Pulling every the weeds, day. Right? Yeah.
Pulling the weeds every day. You must be plucking. You must be gardening every single day. I tell my little ones. So now I have 3 daughters. My oldest is now 23. Oh my gosh. My youngest 2 are 7 and 4. And so, I always explain to them that your mind is your superpower. It's your superpower, and so, God gave the elephant his size. He gave the lion his roar, but he gave us our minds. So we're able to think, and we're able to reason, and we're able to protect it. You must protect it at all times, because that is your superpower. And if anything gets in the way of your superpower, this is when the suicides happen. This is when the depression happens. This is when the addictions happen, the identity issues happen, because you are not gardening your inner.
Yeah. And it can feel overwhelming at first when we're not conscious of what we're putting in, right? Or what we're gardening. And I love that you say that it's a superpower, because it really is a very empowering thing to have the choice, right? To have, that you get to choose and you can change, that you might be living in default, but that you don't have to, right? That you can be empowered and change. It's such a beautiful message. Definitely our superpower. And when we, have the addiction and all those things, like there's that discrepancy. We're not following our soul's calling. We're not, like you were saying, right? We're here for a purpose and our assignment. And when we're not doing that, that's when things feel really off, right?
Yeah. In your parenting, in your wifing, in your whatever it is. You're out of alignment. You're out of alignment. So I do want to say my next one is address unresolved trauma. Okay. We definitely have to do that, because it will show up. It will manifest. It's going to manifest in your parenting. It's going to manifest in you as you being a spouse, as a CEO, as an individual. It's going to show up. It may be something simple as, sending an email. Maybe you had rejection growing up. And later on as an adult, now you're sending emails, or whatever, and someone denies you for something. And now you feel all, sad inside because you were rejected as a child. So now you feel rejected. Now you start taking it out on them. And now, it's just it's all connected, you know. So we must resolve this unresolved childhood trauma. And something like, death. A lot of people are grieving at this point. Something like death. You never, my mother died when I was 9. Like, you never get over that. But at the same time, it's like I still live with it. There's, I can still move on. I can still be happy. I can still, encourage others. I can still have joy and peace within my heart. For one, I guard my inner, of course, and so I can still have that. Now, you never get over that hole of losing your mother. But like I said, you could still move on. So we must address the unresolved childhood trauma, because in whatever areas of your life, it will definitely show up. It will definitely show up. Maybe you had some anger issues. Maybe I'm just using it for example. Maybe your husband, beat you or whatever, and it reminds you of when your dad beat you or whatever. So, and then your children are paying attention to this. So now the anger comes out. It comes out if they, get an F on their report card or whatever. It comes out. It's going to show up. So we must heal and resolve the trauma.
Yeah, for sure. And the amazing thing about life is that it's gonna find ways to bring it up for us, right? In motherhood, a lot of our triggers our buttons are pushed, right? And so it comes up whether or not we go looking for it. So just if you're paying attention, for sure. So if you're paying attention, you'll notice, and you'll be able to say like, oh, what is happening for me right now? How can I tune in here? What do I need? What is going on? Like what?
Why am I acting this way?
Yeah. What's happening for me? Something is up because
Yep. So you definitely have to check in with yourself. And that's key, really checking in and being aware that this is going on. Why am I, maybe your assistant, you didn't make enough sales that week or whatever. And now you're at home yelling at your kids, and so what we're angry at or what we're yelling at is not really the issue. You know what I'm saying? It's something else.
Right. Under the surface.
Exactly. It's something else. And so, it may not be because we didn't make the sales, or it may not be because little Timmy spilled his chocolate milk, but it's because we didn't make the sales, whatever it is. So like I said, we definitely have to address that and heal that. And then my next one is run towards the storm. We definitely need to run towards the storm. We are often referred to as eagles. And eagles, if you study an eagle, I've always looked at eagle and studied them, but if you study them, they fly high. They fly very high. And if they run into another bird, it's another eagle. It's not a chicken or it's not anything else, it's another eagle. So they fly high. And so one of the things about an eagle is they run through the storm. When a storm comes, when the clouds are here and it's raining really hard, they run through the storm. Other birds run the opposite direction because they want to hide from it. And a lot of times we as adults, individuals, we run from the storm. We run from it, whether it's, here we go again with the trauma, whether it's talking to your kids about sex or whatever it is, we run from it. And then because we run from it, we're not able to address it. And then here comes the addictions, here comes the gambling, here comes the overspending or whatever it is that you have, the overeating, all of those things, the drugs, the popping pills. And it's because you are running away from something.
Yeah.
You are running away from that storm. So always run through the storm, run to the storm so that we can address it and we can heal from it, and then you can move on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think you're so right. We shy away from discomfort, right? We don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. And so we run the other direction. But one of the really beautiful things to remember, like with your analogy, I love that because the storm doesn't last forever, right? It lasts for a short period and there can be a rainbow on the other end, right? So when we go
Yep.
through it, yeah, that's where the growth happens. I love that.
Exactly, on the opposite side. So we have to run through it. And that's super important. And then I want to say the very last one, my very last tip is, and this is just like, people are like, oh my gosh, I should have known that. But my last one is eat in alignment. Eat in alignment. This is a huge one. And I spoke about being very busy and all of those things in my first company. And we ate out every single day, y'all. Every single day. Why? Because we didn't have time. There was no time. Everything is just, quick, 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 and so we ate out every single day. So we want to make sure that we are eating in alignment with our bodies. The things that are not in alignment. And when I say eating in alignment, like I teach my clients to everyone, just like your fingerprint has a different gut microbiome. And so your fingerprint, there's no one fingerprint the same as your gut microbiome. So if you are eating things that are not in alignment with you and your body, this is slowly taking you away from your purpose and your calling, your children, and whatever your assignments, all of your assignments. It is slowly taking you away. And for example, for me, it's chicken. People say, oh my gosh, chicken. For me, it's chicken. I stopped eating chicken probably about 5 years ago after I discovered that it is not in alignment. I'm highly sensitive. So when I say garden your inner, that first tip, this is one of your inner. So one of your mouth is how it gets to your inner. And so when I'm eating out of alignment, chicken was one of them. It was slowly killing me and creating inflammation. And this is how the cancers happen, the diabetes, all of these things. So like I said, it's on a rise, and all of these diseases are on a rise. Now, you must understand, I lost my mother at a young age, so I know exactly what it's like for children to grow up without their mother. So whether it's through disease, whether it's through addiction, you lose your mother, you don't want to lose your mother. You don't want to lose your mother. Like your mother there's no one on this earth that will replace your mother. And so if you are eating out of alignment, it's not if, it's when. It's when. A lot of people go and, I heard this story where this lady, she had 4 kids, she had colon cancer. And, it was just like, it snuck up on me. It didn't sneak up. It didn't sneak up. It was happening this whole time. She was busy in her life and she wasn't paying attention. She was out of alignment. Now she has to say goodbye to her children. Yeah. Now she has to say goodbye to her assignments. So we must eat in alignment. And this is crucial. All of these are crucial because it all goes hand in hand. And so this is why I created the Love You More method, because it's 8 elements in the Love You More method, and it all goes hand in hand. It all works together. And so please eat in alignment. And one of the ways I can say is eating in alignment. In the Love You More method, I provide like a food sensitivity test, a gut health test, a sleep test, a blood type test, because not only do, I want to know, but it's you. You need to know. You need to know these things. You need to know what you're highly sensitive to that you're eating every day that's slowly taking you away from your assignment. You need to know, your sleep habits. You need to know your blood type so that we can align, workouts and whatever to your body. You need to know all of these things. You need to know what foods that you're sensitive to. You need to know what's lying dormant in your gut. Maybe it's depression that's in your gut. You're depressed up here, but you're also depressed in your gut as well. So eat in alignment. Eat in alignment.
You're so right. It is all connected. And yeah, I mean, so often we give our power away, right? We look to like, what diet do I need to follow? Instead of, and even if you do choose to follow a diet, how can you make that fit for your life? What feels good from that for you, right? Not
exactly
tuning into what you need. I love that. Yeah.
Yes. So those are my tips for you all. I really hope that you not only listen, but you apply them. You apply them into your life.
I love that. And so you have been on this incredible journey. And if you could go back in time and share a bit of wisdom with your younger self, knowing all that you've known, that you know now, what would you tell her?
Wow, I would definitely tell her to make herself a priority. Mm-hmm. And when she does, everything else will fall into place. Her relationships, her well-being, everything falls into place. Everything.
Yeah. And so often we don't prioritize.
We don't. And when I say prioritize yourself, like, I mean, really doing the work. Because like I said, this determines, a lot of relationships are ending in divorces and all. This determines who you will, marry. This will determine, how happy you are. This will determine who you have kids with. It will determine a lot. If you are just connected to yourself first, it will determine a whole lot, and it will reduce all of the issues that you have going on, that we currently have going on in this world right now. Yes, it will completely reduce it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We say, well, I don't have time for myself, and my kids need this, and but when you do take time for yourself, when you prioritize that, when you protect your energy and your space, and you nurture yourself, and you do all these things in alignment, your whole outer world changes. All of the things that you are wishing would be different, they transform, and you don't even have to try. It's just this effortless flow, and it all starts with us. So
it all starts with
you. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your story, all of your tips with us. Can you tell us where we can find you online?
Sure. I'm everywhere. ToyePenny.com is my website. I do have a book out called Love Them, Love You More. So I am also an author. And so that's on ToyePenny.com or Barnes & Noble's, Books A Million, Target. That's there. And then I do have the Love You More soirees that I host. And that's where I privately invite between 8 to 12 women. And we have a wonderful time. There's a guest celebrity speaker, and we go through the transformational work. And then I invite you to work with me a little deeper in the Love You More method. So if you're interested in the Love You More soirees, please reach out to me. Or if you just want to contact and chat, I also have a CEO Mom intervention chat where we can just connect and chat that way.
How fun. Yay. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I'll put it in the show notes so people can find you and connect with you. Thank you again so much for your time and your wisdom.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining me, Mama. I'm over here smiling from ear to ear and giving you a big virtual hug. I love spending this time with you. You are amazing for showing up and carving out this space to nourish your soul. If you are loving the Soul Care Mom podcast, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. And if you are ready to start your mornings feeling calm and energized, get the Kickstart Your Calm Morning Guide, a self-care morning ritual for moms, as a free gift. when you join the Soul Care Mom community. Head over to soulcaremom.com/kickstart and enter your email address to get your free gift and start feeling like a calm mom today. Sending you so much love, Mama.